Lechi lach to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha to a place you do not know. Lechi lach.
It's great to see you all, and it's great to see Carol and Barry with us, which means that things are probably getting better. So I'm so happy to see you all. And yeah, and just before we start, we are going to Dubai in a minute virtually, and we will be visiting a few of the other Emirates as well. And what we're going to do the day after tomorrow, I will start with the future announcements. So what we will be doing the day after tomorrow, this Thursday, we will be going to a very special place called Ayalon Institute, Machon Ayalon, otherwise known as the Hill of the Kibbutzim, otherwise known as the Underground Bullet Factory. So I'm sure, well, maybe most of you have been there, so it might be sort of, I don't know, retrospective tour, but I hope you will enjoy it. So the Ayalon Institute is this coming Thursday, and then next Tuesday, we are having a very special presentation about a very important, special, moving project, which is called Embrace the Enemy. We will have the leader of this project who led the medical aid supplied by the Israeli government through IDF to the wounded Syrians during the civil war there. This is an amazing project, and well, you will have to listen to it yourself. So this is the presentation next Tuesday with Eyal Dror. And then next Thursday, we will have no presentation because I'm going to Seychelles Islands. My husband and myself are going to celebrate our 20th anniversary. So we are going to Seychelles. I'm very excited about it. And, you know, normally I would find somebody to talk to you. You know, I don't necessarily have to be there, but it happened to be the 100th episode. So I decided that I'm not going to miss it. And since we fly June 3rd, so we have no episode this day, and then we will have an episode Thursday. And then I will have a report about Seychelles, you know, so maybe we will travel together overseas. But let's start with today, and I will start sharing my screen. And we are on our way to Dubai, part 2. All right, guys, can you see my screen? Israelites in UAE, part 2 with Julie Newman, that's myself, and Corona Malka. Corona Malka is now sitting behind me. You don't see her because of the virtual background I have, but you can see her here on this photo. This is Corona Malka. I'm sure most of you are already familiar with her. We traveled together. And next to her, she has a friend made out of towel, and that was made by the cleaning lady in Dubai Hotel. So here we are, and as always, this is a pay as you wish presentation, paypal.me, Noam Newman. So just a little introduction for those who have not participated in the first presentation, which was on location, the Israelites in UAE, part 1. I flew to the Emirates following the possibility, which was made by the Abraham Accords, which were signed in the White House about 7 months ago. That was last September. You can see this very, very famous photo here. I'm sure you're familiar with that photo. This is the signing of the Abraham Accords between Israel and the Emirates. This is what you can see on the map in green, and Bahrain as well. So Bahrain is a separate Arab country. It is not part of the UAE, and so I did not visit it yet, but we already can do that, and I hope to do that, you know, in the future. So for me, it was a dream come true because I grew up, as you know, I was born in Russia, and that was my parents' dream, and then my dream to travel and to see the world, which was not possible while in Russia, and then it became possible when we immigrated to Israel, and I basically traveled ever since. And you know, there are these names which you sort of know, but you don't really understand they exist. I don't know if you know what I mean, like places which are like imagination, like a legend, even though they are real. So for me, one of these places was the Cape of Good Hope. The Cape of Good Hope. Oh, okay, Ina, I can see that you agree. Okay, great. Great minds think alike. So anyhow, Cape of Good Hope is at the very edge, the southern end of Africa. I don't have it here on the map. Anyhow, it was one of these places which I knew exist, but I didn't really believe. And then 10 years ago, we traveled to the Cape of Good Hope. And I even have a certificate about doing that. And that was something totally unbelievable. So that was one of these places. And the other place is here. Okay, wait, once again, I need to annotate and then we will see it better. Okay, here, you see, this is the very northern end of the UAE, the green part here. And this is as close as it gets to Asia and more specifically to Iran. So these straits here are called the Straits of Hormuz. And these were among the most important, meaningful, historical, commercial straits in the world. Because as you can see, they connect the Far East, India with the Persian Gulf, and then Iran, Persia, and then the Mediterranean, and then Europe. The bottom line is that the Straits of Hormuz right here were sort of a legend. And unlike the Cape of Good Hope, I knew that I will never be able to visit because they are between UAE and Iran, and both do not accept Israel. And then some 7 months ago, thanks to the Abraham Accords, it became possible for me. So I could not wait to go, and finally I went, and you're welcome to join me there. So just, you know, a brief introduction. This is the Persian Gulf, of course, the one we saw before. This is the very tip of the UAE and Oman. The white part is Oman. No friends of ours yet. But the rest, the colorful parts, are the UAE. So we landed in Dubai, and I already shared my experience in Dubai with you the previous time. And this time, we will be visiting Ras El Khima here. Okay, you see this orange part. It has two parts which are disconnected, but both of them belong to the same emirate, Ras El Khima. And then we will go to Abu Dhabi, which is the biggest one, the yellow one. Okay, and Abu Dhabi is ruled by the Sheikh Zayed ibn Sultan Al Nahyan. That's his name. This is the ruler. This is the royalty of Abu Dhabi. And he is the leader of the UAE today. So this is the guy. I would like us to start from where we stopped our previous presentation. So last time I was talking about Dubai. While still in Dubai, we had some sort of a desert party in the middle of the desert, the sand dunes in Dubai. This is our group, happy about the performer on the stage. And let's take a look at this performer. Now, you will see maybe a minute or two, not more than that. But actually, this performance lasted for 20-something minutes. Okay, now look at this gentleman. Look what he does. I don't know how he survived it, but he did survive it very well. Sorry. okay. And so it goes on and on and on. I was dizzy just looking at him, but he, as I said, he was perfectly fine. And then well, as you can see, the lady had a little bit of trouble getting up because she's, she looks great, but she's 67 years old while the guy is, I guess 20 something. And she was so happy when he invited her to dance with him, but then eventually she could not get up on her feet. But anyhow, she said it was worth it. And then after the sand dunes and this weird, I would say, party, we visited a beautiful flowers park. This is what you see. Ina, you seem to be familiar with the place. What is special about this park is the size and the shape and just the combination of the figures. I mean, the flowers themselves are not very special, are not rare, nothing like that. But the fact that you are, again, back to where we are in Dubai. There are no springs, no natural lakes, almost no rain. And then you drive through this amazing structures. You can see my background. This is Dubai. So you drive through sand dunes and then you drive through this super modern architecture. And then all of a sudden, the minute you park your car at the parking lot, you feel the smell of the flowers, and that takes you to a wonderful fairy tale with some ducks and with some giant cats and some, legendary castle and a gigantic, enormous horse. You can see that horse here and more flowers, and it is just beautiful. And on top of that, you see they took an airplane. It is an airplane, and they made it of flowers. This is the Emirates, the local airlines, and this is the real size of the airplane. And this is why I wanted to have my photo here, so you will see the size of me comparing to the airplane. So this is just amazing, and not to be mentioned that it is very hot. Everything is totally exposed to sun, of course, and so the amount of water needed to irrigate it and to maintain the garden is just enormous, and they cannot maintain it after beginning of May. The flowers just, they can't make it. So everything gets dry, and then they replant and renew the garden in the fall. So we were there in the very end of the garden season, and it's about to die. And it was so sad looking at these flowers and thinking that, okay, their time is over, and then new plants will come instead. And then right next door there is the garden of the butterflies. You walk for maybe 5 minutes, you almost get dehydrated on the way. But the minute you get into the garden of butterfly, again, you feel as if you are in a fairy tale. You are surrounded. It is a building which looks like a gigantic greenhouse divided into 4 parts. Each part is dedicated to a different kind and different climate zone of the butterflies. And then you just walk around, and dozens, hundreds, thousands of butterflies of all possible colors, they just surround you. And since we made it early, well, not very early, that was about 10 a.m., but this is the time when they open the garden and the butterflies are being fed. So the butterflies just, you know, they land on the special feeding plates, which have a shape of a flower. They have slices of fresh fruits, like the best fruit. I could have them just like the butterflies, and they enjoy their breakfast. So just a minute of, you know, getting the sense of what it is to be surrounded by so many butterflies. Okay, now you could hear the sound. I wanted you to hear the sound. You could hear the sound of birds, and then you could also hear the sound of something which is unclear. So the unclear thing is the running water, and the birds are real birds. I mean, to begin with, I thought that this is recorded, you know, and then I realized that we actually have birds and parrots just, you know, on top, above us, above the butterflies. So it gives you that sense of a jungle. And again, this is 5 minutes from the parking lot, from these huge structures behind me. You constantly feel as if things are unreal. And a friend of mine told me that there is a special term for it, which I can't remember, but there is a term for something which is imitates reality, but there is no such reality. Okay, I know it's a bit complicated. I will find out, but there is a term for that. So this is the constant feeling as you travel around the UAE. It is real, it is unreal, it looks like reality, but it's not reality. Nothing to compare to. All right. Once again, I was so excited about these butterflies being fed. Now they simply sit down and eat, you know, and in a way you feel jealous. I mean, and they're huge. You see these butterflies, each butterfly is about the size of my hand, okay? And sometimes they just land on you. I mean, you know, you walk around and you feel something in your hair, and then you touch your hair, and here you are with a butterfly in your hand. So you have to be very careful not to smash one. And then you just open your hands and they land on your hands. And well, this is so beautiful. And then we drove to see this building, a very famous one. It's called Burj Al Arab. And this is a 7-star hotel. Okay, this is the only hotel in the world which is considered to be 7 stars, not 5, 7. Okay, we have not been inside because you have to be a resident in order to be able to visit. Okay, they don't need visitors which cannot pay. Or the other way for you to visit the hotel is to book a seat in a bar. They have a bar up here. Okay, it was closed when we were there, so we did not go. But if you do have an appointment in a bar, which is possible those days because of the COVID, normally you have to book like a month in advance, and then they will let you to sit up here overlooking Dubai and the Gulf and have a special cocktail with sugar and gold in it, okay? Real gold. So you can actually sit in a 7-star hotel and sip gold instead of doing something better with it. But this is like as much luxury as it gets. And if you remember, long ago, we had a virtual tour at Mount Gerizim with the Samaritan community, and the priest, Yosef, the priest of Samaritan community, he showed me his photos in Burj Al Arab, and then I shared these photos with you. So actually, you could see what it looks like inside, but it doesn't matter. That's what it looks like outside. It looks like a sail, and this is one of the main attractions in Dubai. And then the other main attraction, maybe the main attraction, is the so-called Palm Jumeirah, an artificial island which looks like a palm tree. Okay, unfortunately, there is no way you can see the palm tree as it is. I mean, you have to look at it from a bird's view, from an airplane or something like that. So you can see only small parts of it. And what we will be doing, we will be taking the monorail, the single rail metro, single rail train, which goes all the way straight forward, all the way to the end. Okay, and then you drive back in the underwater tunnel, which brings you back to the mainland. That looks just gorgeous. So that's what it looks like, the monorail from inside. It is fully automatic. I mean, there is no person operating it. It has two cars and it drives back and forth. And so you can sit right here at the very front where you would normally have a driver, but there is no driver. So you can sit here. And since we were the only group there, so we enjoy the monorail for ourselves. Now it moves pretty fast. I mean, you know, it starts slowly and then it accelerates and accelerates, and you actually feel a little bit uncertain about this technology, you know, especially because there's no driver. And then the monorail approaches this middle station, and you have that feeling that you're going to crash in it. It doesn't happen, but it is a bit scary. And on the way, this is what you see from the windows. So these structures and this coast, this is one of the branches, one of the so-called leaves of the palm tree, which makes palm jumeirah. So once again, the whole thing is real, but artificial, but real. And this is the view from the other window. This is the end of the last palm leaf. If you're very wealthy, so you can have a villa here. I mean, the whole thing is inhabited and populated. There are hotels and Airbnbs and restaurants and just private houses and all that. And this is a very special looking hotel. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's like, it looks as if it was made of a gigantic Lego pieces. And this will be the end of our journey. And then we are going to a ski resort, which is inside a shopping mall. Once again, this is possible only in Dubai because everything would melt, of course. This is a real snow. It is a real snow, a real chairlift. You can do real skiing, you can do real snowboarding, you can do real slides. You know, everything is rather small and rather limited, but it is real. And I don't know if you all been to a ski resort, but if you have, so this hotel here on the left, this is a Kempinski hotel, which is present in so many ski resorts all over the world. And this is exactly how a very good ski in, ski out hotel would look like at a ski resort elsewhere. And that's what it looks like inside a shopping mall. So you see, we have a hotel and a ski resort, ski in, ski out, inside a shopping mall, which is, again, unbelievable. -6 Celsius, freezing cold as it should be, 50 degrees Celsius outside, nice, cool in the middle inside the shopping mall. And well, you have a dragon. Okay, this is not real. A dragon made of real ice, and you have this creature. I don't remember the name. Maybe somebody will remember the name, but it comes from okay, now I don't even remember the name of the movie. Very relatively a new movie about a princess which makes whatever she touches becomes ice. Yeah, okay, anyhow, very, very famous. I can't remember the name. My daughter even has a sheet. Frozen, yes, thank you. Okay, the movie is called Frozen, and he is called what? This magical dwarf. All right, if anybody will Google, so let us know. If not, so anyhow, It is a character in the Frozen, a very nice character, which is made of ice and snow. And these guys are real penguins. Okay, every day, 6 p.m., they have a bunch of penguins which are walking out of their snow-made home, and they just walk around. You see, they have a little compound for them to walk. They're two different species. They could not care less about us. I mean, we are standing behind the rope, being totally excited, and the penguins would not care less, as it should be. And you see how close I am to them. I mean, you're not supposed to pet them, so I did not. But you know, I'm close enough to touch these wonderful creatures. I love penguins. In South Africa, we've been to a penguins resort, and then again, we could not pet the penguins. So now I just need to see the royal penguin in Antarctica, and I'm okay. And from there, we went to the Green Planet. And the Green Planet, once again, it is a artificial structure. You can see the walls behind it here. And in the center of this structure, you have a tree, okay? You can see that tree on the right. And well, obviously over the Zoom, you cannot tell if it's real or unreal, but I can tell you that even when I was standing next to it, even when I was touching it, I could not tell if it is real or fake. It was just too much, okay? And the only way for me to find out was to try and get a leaf from the tree. So I could not. So I knew that it is fake, but that's the only way. I mean, it is a perfect imitation of a huge tree, which is 4 stories high. And inside this gigantic tree, you have an elevator. Okay, so you walk into the structure, you take the elevator to the 4th floor, and then you basically walk in a spiral around this building, around the tree, and you see animals, you see birds, you see more butterflies, you have, well, this is a lemur, you see, a real one, you have some monkeys. Again, it is totally unreal. It's a green planet of a tropical oasis in the center of Dubai. And then, and that was something I was really looking forward to, we drove to Ras El Khima. It took maybe 2.5 hours. And we drove into the mountains. You can see how dark, how bare, how dry these mountains are. I mean, I can't describe, I can't explain how dry these mountains are. It is drier than Sinai. It is drier than Eilat. It is drier than anything else in the world, or at least driest than anything I ever saw. And you drive along the coast, and then you drive up to the mountains along this road, a very new, wonderful road, which takes you higher and higher and higher. Finally, you reach an elevation of over 600 feet with a beautiful view, which you will see later. And on the way, we saw, it looks like, I don't know, it's too small to be a town. It's definitely not a village, so I'm not sure what should I call it. Maybe a community, okay? A community of desert palaces. This is one palace. There is another palace. There is a 3rd palace, and there are dozens of these palaces, huge, beautiful, amazing, very expensive. The richest people of UAE, the locals, live in these palaces in the middle of the desert, surrounded by these black, dry mountains. And everything, well, I was not invited inside, but I guess everything is perfect inside, and definitely air-conditioned, running water, etc. But what was very interesting for me, for all of us, the whole group, you see, this is the palace, okay? Now, obviously, this is the courtyard, which belongs to this palace, this private house, okay? Here on the left, there is another house, which probably belongs to the same extended family. I'm not sure, but what I'm trying to say is that, you see, this courtyard is empty. It's bare. There is no vegetation. There are no flowers. There's no nothing. And in between the palaces, as well, there was nothing. I mean, you know, if you think of the community you live in, if I think of the moshav I live in, so I have my house, I have my private yard, but then in between there are some, you know, trees and bush and some vegetation, and basically people are trying to make their community look nice, right? You don't just care about your own house, you care about the surroundings. And it is very interesting to see that this is not the Bedouin mentality. And this is something we do know from you know, our coexistence with Arabs and Bedouins. Well, those of you who traveled in Israel, you must have noticed, if you ever drove through an Arab town, that Arab towns tend to be more dirty. Okay, there's more garbage just around the place, around on the roads, and that's because somehow Arabs tend not to care about the surroundings. You know, they care about their houses. Like the Arab houses tend to be very, very clean, like perfect clean, cleaner. I would say the average Arab house, at least those I know, an average Arab house will be cleaner than an average Jewish house, like cleaner than my private house for sure. But they will not care about whatever is around their house. And that was very interesting to see here because the palaces are amazing. Some of the private courtyards of the palaces were amazing. And in between, there was nothing. There was just desert, rocks, some garbage, and a few goats. That's it. Okay, that was very interesting, you know, moment in understanding a different mentality. So we stopped in a Daya fortress. This is what it's called. It's a tiny little fortress. You will see it in a minute in the video. And this fortress was used by the local Bedouins when they tried to protect their land from the British. As you know, Israel was under a British mandate. UAE was not under a British mandate. It was a different story. But during the 19th century and up until 1971, when UAE declared independence, so UAE is actually younger than Israel and younger than most of us. Anyhow, they were ruled and controlled by the British. And the Daya fortress is significant because that was the last stronghold. Daya fortress is the UAE Masada. Obviously, they lost. They did not commit suicide, but most of the fighters were killed. And starting from 1820, if I'm not mistaken, the British were the landlords and the rulers of UAE, and therefore the Hormuz Straits. So, a tiny fortress with the proud UAE flag on it. This is the community of the palaces we saw before. And this is a town, the central town of Ras El Khima. And we don't really see the sea. Well, now you can see the sea. And this is the Persian Gulf. And from here, we will be driving to a lookout, which will, well, it normally allows us to see the Hormuz Straits. This day was very foggy, so we did not really see it, but we did our best. And once again, the Black Mounts and the fortress. You know, it was I would even say a funny, a miserable attempt to fight the British with their machine guns, with their ammunition, with the amount of people they had, but they were trying to, you know, to maintain their independence. So same might be said about Masada. With no doubt that the Jews 2,000 years ago will not be able to fight and win, but they had that feeling that they have to fight. And you see this little tree here. It was not planted, it just grew on its own naturally. It's a little acacia, desert acacia tree. And it's sort of unbelievable that a tree managed to survive, to place roots and live in this bare land on top of the fortress. But it is symbolic. I mean, we do have an independent and prosperous and successful UAE. And finally, we are driving to see the Straits of Hormuz from as close as possible. Once again, unfortunately, we could not, now I can say yet, maybe in the future, but we could not, our Israeli group could not stand on this edge, very edge of the Saudi Arabia peninsula, because this edge belongs to Oman, and we do not yet have a diplomatic relationship with Oman, so maybe in the future. So we were standing somewhere, just a little bit to the left maybe. So the narrowest part is about 30 miles wide. So we were somewhere here, so maybe that's about, I don't know, 40 miles, okay? And across the strait, the legendary Hormuz Strait, that's Iran, okay, which does not welcome us yet. Yeah, so that's me, okay? Standing on the lookout. Right behind me, this is the Persian Gulf. And I felt so happy and so satisfied. I can't even explain how amazing that was for me to be up here. And this is what this lookout looks like, just on the other side. Okay, the Hajar Mount and the Jabal Jais lookout. The elevation is, oh, okay, sorry, I was exaggerating. The elevation is about 3,600 meters above sea level. And here on the right, you can see some red flowers. And this is oleander, the oleander flowers, harduf in Hebrew, which is very commonly seen in Israel. This is maybe the most common plant to, for decoration of roads and sidewalks and stuff like that, because even though it naturally grows next to water, next to rivers, but it's a very non-demanding plant, and you can see it all over the place. And again, for us, the Israelis, to be on Jabal Jais in Ras El Khima, and then, oh wow, this is the oleander. This is our Israeli sort of plant, so we felt almost at home. And here it comes, the last evening in Dubai, this huge artificial canal with all these amazing buildings. And it's, almost sunset, and everything is just perfect. And when the sun set, we drove to Burj Dubai, this the tallest building in the world, which is 800 something meters high, about 2,400 feet. The iconic symbol of Dubai and of UAE. Previous presentation, we've been there up there, like halfway up there, looking at the surroundings. And this is what the whole area looks like at night. Here on the left, this is the hotel, which is like, I don't remember how expensive it is, but this is like amazingly expensive. This is where you park your Lamborghini, okay? And then you go to drink something. And this is the nighttime performance of Burj Khalifa, the one and only. Okay, you see all these sparkles? Yeah, okay. Well, you have to be there to see how pretty it is. And then some singing fountains just below Burj Khalifa. Okay, you see another light performance and the fountains. So everything was real, wonderful, amazing, beautiful. And there was only one thing which really bothered me. And this one thing was that originally when I joined the tour, we were promised to go to Abu Dhabi. And then we were told that we cannot go to Abu Dhabi because of the COVID-19 restrictions. And even though I was very sad about it, but what could I do? But then the day before this day you see now on your screens, one of the members of our group met another Israeli, and that another Israeli told her that their group is going to Abu Dhabi. And when I heard that, I got restless. So I started talking to people, and I talked to our tour guide, and she said, no, this is impossible. We're not going to Abu Dhabi. And I really wanted to go to Abu Dhabi. And the bottom line was that I decided that I'm going to leave the group. Okay. This is the last evening in Dubai. Next day, we had a full day in Dubai doing mostly nothing like shopping and, silly things. And then the flight back was at 8 p.m. So that's a full day. And so I decided that I'm not going shopping. I cannot miss Abu Dhabi. I'm going to leave the group. I'm going to take a cab, and I'm going to Abu Dhabi on my own, even though the tour guide said that this is impossible, but I had to check on myself. I am a tour guide, so I have to do things independently. And therefore, the next day, Abu Dhabi, here I come. I booked a taxi from the hotel, and originally the taxi was supposed to take me to Abu Dhabi. And then we found out that the driver cannot go to Abu Dhabi because he does not have a recent enough COVID-19 test. So the driver could drive me only to the border, and then I had to switch taxis. So that's exactly what I did. We went to the border, I switched taxis. I had a wonderful driver. His name is Arif. Now you can see him on the photo. He's a computer engineer from Pakistan. But since in Pakistan, you don't make enough money, even if you are a computer engineer. So he went to Abu Dhabi to become a taxi driver. So he became a taxi driver, and then COVID-19 started, and so he's almost unemployed, and this is a very difficult situation for him. And so he was very happy to have me as a customer, because we actually toured together for a full day, and I paid for it, of course. So anyhow, we arrived at the border, and then at the border, they were not sure if they should let me in or not. It was a long, not very long, but sort of a complicated story. I was sent to one official, to the other, and then to the third, and then I got a stamp, and eventually they let me into Abu Dhabi, and I was so grateful and so happy I did it, because Abu Dhabi has some of the most amazing things, again, I ever saw. So the first stop was at Ferrari World. Actually, it was closed to the public, so I did not get in. But it is an amazing structure. You can see it on the right and on the left. Okay, these two buildings are connected. And this is the biggest car museum in the world dedicated to Ferrari. Of course, there's also an amusement park. Anyhow, I did not get in. And we kept driving, and then we arrived to here, and this is truly amazing. It is an architecture of, I don't know, it just a genius. It is called the Louvre Museum of Abu Dhabi. They paid $500 million US. Okay, the authorities of Abu Dhabi paid $500 million to the Louvre Museum in Paris in order to be allowed to use the name. That's it. You pay $500 million for the brand, all right? And then they paid another $250 million for the artifacts which are on display in this Louvre Museum, and yet they belong to the Louvre in Paris, in France. So that's what it looks like from outside. You see white square blocks, somehow partly connected one to the other, and surrounded by the artificial pool, while the real Persian Gulf is behind it. We will see it later. So you have a feeling as if this is a maybe a boat, maybe an Atlantis, which is half underwater, half above water. You can see the reflection here. It adds to the surreality and this amazing, weird feeling of this museum. It doesn't look like anything else. And it is not that big per se, but it's meant to be for so many visitors, for so many people, and all these stairs here and all these sidewalks, and there was nobody there. Arif, the taxi driver, drove me there. He dropped me off. I told him that I will call him, whenever I'm ready. Anyhow, no chance for customers, and I was the only visitor in this amazing museum. So when you walk inside, it has these inner windows with different, things, different ways people said. This is something I really liked by Oscar Wilde, one of my favorite authors. The truth is rarely pure and never simple. And I think this is so true. I mean, especially talking about politics, but this is always true. And some beautiful artifacts from all over the world, but mostly from all over the Muslim world, not the Arab world, but the Muslim world, which means that it includes parts of India, parts of Asia, parts of Far East. Muslims are the largest religion now in the world. Some ancient artifacts found in the Muslim world. This is a statue, one of the earliest human-like statues, centuries old, about 5,000 years old, if I'm not mistaken. And another, look at this. I mean, it is about 5,000 years old as well, this statue. Are we talking about twins which were not separated? Are we talking about a god? We don't know, but this is, just beautiful. And the books, we have ancient prayer books, we have ancient holy books. We have this very special portrait of the man. Look at him. It looks like as if it was a photo. It is so precise and accurate. And this is from 1808. This is one of the earliest portraits, which are exact and accurate. And here it is. And well, this is something which was especially appealing to me, of course. This is the Bible. Okay, this is the Bible. Ve'ele Toldot. Okay, this is one of the parashot. And to look at this old Bible, a handwritten manuscript in Abu Dhabi was great. And this is your way to get out. This, again, sorry, I wish you could be there with me, but okay, some other time. This is the last room of the museum. I mean, this is your way to get out from the museum. And this is an artwork which consists of hundreds of very thin, see-through plastic springs which connect the ceiling with the floor, which connect heavens and earth. And the roof itself is transparent, as you can see. So we have spots of light, and these spots of light move from one place to the other. As if you stand there for like 10 minutes, you see that it moves. And it is sort of a maze through which you have to get out. I mean, you come from here on the left. This is the guard, okay, doing nothing at all. And from here, you have to find your way through that maze into the exit. Now, it seems to be very simple, but it's not, because when you enter the maze, you don't really see where is the wall made of these springs and where it is open. So you are actually lost in this surreal world, which is made, it is made of light and imagination. So it is an amazing work by an Austrian artist who's done Rechter or something like that. I'm not sure, but Suzanne for sure. And I was standing there for maybe 20 minutes just watching the lights and watching the air surrounding me, and everything was unreal. So this is just the best place to summarize a visit to the UAE. And then when you finally find your way out, this is what you see. Now you're on the other side of the museum, and once again you see the water, but this time this is the water from the Persian Gulf. So it makes you feel as if, again, it is Atlantis. It is partly above ground, partly below ground, and there are seagulls all over the place. Let's listen to them. And once again, as you could notice, there's nobody there. It was me and a few workers which were fixing something, and the seagulls and some ocean fish, and the helicopter which flew above me. And this is the ceiling. This is the half open, half closed ceiling, which provides air and light to the museum and to the outdoors. And it is so hot that it's almost impossible to stand below. And it was not even summertime, and everything is so white and shining, so you can't even face it. And well, this is the Louvre of Abu Dhabi, and I will be back, God willing. And then we're driving to our next stop, which is the last stop for me in Abu Dhabi, just because I had no time. The second amazing one. And on the way, we passed these two buildings. Now, they look weird to begin with, but then Arif told me that, you see, these are the metal, sort of metal shields on both sides of it. And these metal shields react to light, and so they rotate, they actually move around the building according to the movement of the sun. So they make sure that the part which is now facing the sun will be covered and provide some shade instead of having curtains, maybe. So that's another special thing. I never saw before such a structure. And then we approached the most expensive mosque ever built, the most beautiful and perfect, maybe, one of the newest ones, the Mosque of Sheikh Zayed. And the only way to approach the mosque is underground. I mean, as you drive on the road, you can see it, but somehow, and I don't know why, you cannot just enter it. You have to go to a shopping mall, and then you take the escalator downstairs or the elevator, and then you end up in this corridor, this very long, beautifully decorated corridor, which was totally empty. I mean, that was a very strange feeling, you know, to be alone in such a huge structure. And every now and then there are these, it looks like pine cones to me, And these pine cones are just a decoration, and they're placed above this corridor. So you enter the corridor, and then you have to be properly dressed. Properly dressed means that you have to be covered top to bottom, especially if you are a woman. So you will see what I look like soon. Anyhow, so I dressed up and I walked in this very long and empty corridor. And then eventually I got out. And this is the mosque. This is the mosque as you see it from the road. You actually get closer to it in this underground corridor. And this is called the Mosque of Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque. Sheikh Zayed is the founder of Abu Dhabi, and he is actually the founder of entire UAE. And this is what he looked like. He passed away a few years ago, and now his son is the current royalty of Abu Dhabi, as I told you. But he is present all over Abu Dhabi. Like every few meters, you will see his face on posters, buildings, etc. So this is what you see as soon as you finally make it through the underground corridor. Again, it is white and shining bright, so you can't look at it. You have to use your sunglasses, and even then it is a bit difficult. And once again, the mosque is surrounded by ponds here on the left and here on the right, and the reflection is beautiful, and it adds to this truly amazing structure. Another angle to look at it. You see these pillars with gold-plated capitals to them, 4 minarets, and crystal clear water. This is what the inner courtyard looks like. You can see the floor of this huge courtyard, which is big enough to host thousands of people, thousands of prayers in the same time. It looks as if there was a carpet on the ground. Obviously, it's not a carpet, but it is actually a stone-made, what do you call it? Stone-made mosaic, but not mosaic like you saw in Sipori. These are huge. Oh, wow, there must be a term to it. When you put thin layers of polished stones in another bigger stone, what is it called? Well, I know the Russian term. Okay, well, hopefully you understand what I mean. Again, if somebody can help me with the perfect term, I will appreciate it. And so these stone incrustation, oh, I think this is the word. Is there such a word, incrustation? Yeah, okay, thank you, Steve. So this is the stone incrustation, the biggest stone incrustation in the world. And the columns which are made of white shiny marble, of course, they have this floral design, which is incrustation as well. Another look at the same courtyard from the other side. I was just amazed by it. And then these are just details from inside. The carpet in the hall itself, which you will see in a minute, is the largest Iranian carpet in the world, and it weighed 35 tons. Okay, and well, you have some more data on this mosque, and that's what it looks like from inside. Okay, this is the Iranian carpet, which was mentioned, the largest Iranian carpet in the world. The whole thing is made of marble, semi-precious stones is incrustation, and crystal lantern, and nobody is there except of myself and Bart. So we just take a good look of the inner part of the mosque. This is the men's section. I mean, during the day when there are no prayers, it is open to everybody. And during the prayers, so this is the men's section, and there is a separate women's section, which I was not allowed to visit. Not sure why. Maybe they just didn't want to put more guards in there. I'm not sure. And now this golden niche right in front of us, this is the so-called mihrab. Mihrab is the direction of prayer, which is present in every single mosque in the world. And the direction of prayer is, of course, Mecca. So when you enter a mosque, you know what direction you should be facing and pray towards Mecca. This is a clock which has sort of a shape of a flower with the timings of the daily prayers. You know that the Muslims pray 5 times a day. And there is also a certain time before sunrise before which you are not allowed to start praying. And so in every mosque you will have the 5 daily prayers, and then another timing which is like, okay, not before this one, and then beautiful glass incrustation, yeah. Yes, okay. And so Arif drove me back to Dubai, and on our way to the airport, we took another look at this very special looking structure, which is the future museum of the future, meaning that it's not finished yet. But this is what it looks like from outside. It will have a display about the future perspectives of the UAE. We don't know for sure what these will be, but that's what it is all about. And you see letters from the Arabic language. It does not have a meaning. It's not citations or something. These are just letters of the Arabic alphabet, because just like in Kabbalah, the Arabic alphabet has a meaning and has magical powers, or at least this is what Muslims believe. And you can see how big the structure is, because if you look at this red thing here, so right in the middle of this red mark, there is a tiny little strip, and this is a person. So you can compare the size of the person to the size of the building, and it's going to be a huge and amazing, probably, museum. Another reason to get back. And finally, since I was the one and the only visitor in the mosque, and nobody could take my photo, even though I really wanted to have my photo when I'm properly dressed, and the guards were not allowed to take my photo. Who knows why, but that's the rule. So I had to do a selfie. So this is a properly dressed lady in Abu Dhabi. Okay, you have to cover your hair thoroughly, black scarf, sunglasses. This is not compulsory, but otherwise you can't leave. I'm fully covered with black long sleeved shirt and long pants, and you have to have a mask covering your nose and mouth because of COVID-19. And all in all, it is very inconvenient, but it was so much worth it. So that's it. Thank you for joining me. Okay, as you wish. And see you again back in Israel. Okay.
Thank you.
So this is it. This is the second part of UAE experience. As you could hear, I'm very, very excited about it. And it's good to be back. So next presentation will be about an amazing place in Israel. Very small, very modest, very different. Yeah, the Ammunition Museum. Okay, I can see that we have quite a few things on chat.
Julia, there's some sort of a Jewish community starting up in the UAE. I think there's a chief rabbi that lives there. Did you find anything about that?
Well, what we were told is that there are Jews who live in UAE, but only temporary, like businessmen, and not constant residents. They did have a synagogue for many years because there were always Jews from, all over the world, not from Israel. So there was a temporary synagogue, and now they are building a proper synagogue. So next time I will be there probably. They're supposed to finish in about 6 months. So probably next time I go there, there will be like, a proper synagogue. I don't know about a rabbi, but I assume there should be a rabbi because, a synagogue requires a rabbi and a gabbai and
In
so
Dubai,
anyhow,
in
pardon?
Dubai, I know people from who I know went and they saw this Chabad rabbi, and there's a small Jewish community there. I went to a program where there was a Jewish woman, part of the Jewish community, who was cooking and opening up like Jewish cooking in Dubai. So I think there are permanent residents, but
Yeah, well, in order to live in Dubai, you have to get a residence permit, but it's not a big deal. Like basically everybody can get a resident permit as long as they either have funds or an employee. So this is possible. By the way, somebody, I don't remember who that was, but first part in Dubai, somebody asked me if there is any poverty in UAE, and who that was, I don't know. Anyhow, so I was asked about the poverty, and then I answered exactly the answer I was given by our tour guide, that there is no poverty because you live there either if you are a citizen and then you are wealthy, okay, you're local, you belong to the Bedouin family, or you're employed and then you are provided by a minimum salary and medical insurance and stuff like that. So that was the answer, the official answer. But then when I was driving around for the whole day with Arif, I asked him the same question. Okay, it was very interesting because it was one-on-one, it was not formal, so he could give me the true answer. So the true answer is yes, there is poverty. So I asked him how come, and he said, well, because it's true that you have to be employed in order to arrive to the UAE in the first place. But what happens if you lose your job? So, well, then your visa is extended for another month. And during that month, you are supposed to find another job. Okay. If you succeeded, okay. If you did not succeed, so then you can, in most cases, you can extend your visa for another 6 months in order to find a job. But after 6 months, if you do not find a job, so you have to leave, okay? But nobody actually forces you to leave, which means that quite a few people stay. And these people become illegal and very poor. And then they work in all sorts of, dirty, illegal, and very low-paid jobs. So, yes. There is poverty, and I apologize for giving you the wrong information first time this question was asked. But this is exactly the difference between the official information and the small talk with the taxi driver. Okay, let's see. One of the 3 great capes sailors get earning per cape. I was a cape of storms before British public relations got involved. Okay. Are the people of the UAE Arabs, Louis? Okay. That's something I was talking about the first presentation. So what happens in UAE today, that the population of UAE is about 10 million, similar to the population of Israel, but only 1.5 million are local Arabs. Only 1.4 million are Arabs, Bedouins, Muslims, and citizens. Okay, that's it. All the rest are workers, temporary workers from all over the world. Most of them are either Indian, Pakistani, Filipino, but then from, any other place, you name it. So then these people are residents, they're paid, they have, certain social status, but they can never become citizens. Never, ever, under no circumstances, somebody who is not from a local Arab family can become a full citizen. And Arif even told me that the plate number, the number of plates of the card, they are different. I mean, the registration of a car will be different between a local resident and a local citizen. And then after I was explained that, I could actually see that there are so few cars with the citizens numbers, you know, versus all the others which are residents. Okay, yeah. Okay, so Harry asks, I guess they have a lot of money to spend. Oh yeah, definitely so. Abu Dhabi has plenty of money because of the oil and the natural gas. Dubai has a lot of money due to natural gas, a little bit of oil, and plenty of tourism and international investments. And other Emirates have less, but they still rich. Yes, surreal. Do they desalinate ocean water, or do they have a true water source? No, everything comes from desalination. Everything comes from desalination, and therefore, you know, this is a drinking water, but it's not tasty. It's just not tasty, and so people don't drink tap water, even though you can. But they don't do that. They use bottled mineral water, which is imported from, you know, different places. For instance, I got a bottled water from Fiji. Okay, came all the way from Fiji. It was so funny, you know, to buy water from Fiji in UAE, but that's how it works. This is the global economy. And I asked, I knew that in Dubai you can drink tap water because we were told so. And I was not sure about Abu Dhabi. So I asked Arif, and can you drink tap water? And he looked at me like, what? Why do you want to drink it? And I said, well, it's not that I want to, I'm just curious. So he said, well, I have no idea. I never tried. I don't think anybody ever drank it. So that was the answer. I mean, people just don't drink tap water. Okay, the butterfly with the eyes on the tails are protective as prey. Yeah, Godzilla, Frozen. Yeah. Olaf, exactly. This is the creature. This is the dwarf from Frozen. Olaf. Yeah. Okay. Are there oases in Dubai? Yeah, there are a few oases in Dubai, and this is where the original Bedouin population used to live. Because, you know, even if you're a Bedouin, you need to drink something. You have to grow some vegetables, fruit, and you have to feed your goats. So the original population of UAE, including Dubai, was very, very small, and it was limited by the size of the oases, and it was limited by the amount of water provided by these oases. So we're talking about a very small community, and even today, as I told you, the local community is much smaller comparing to the overall population. One of the things I've showed you on the previous presentation was the specific oasis from which the royal family of Dubai came from. And this is where they currently celebrate their Independence Day, in this oasis. Glauco asked, who is taking care of the cleaning houses and other services, manual services, foreign workers? Yes. Foreign workers only. The locals hardly work. I mean, as a tourist, you will never see a working local. It doesn't happen. Whoever you face will be foreigner from somewhere, and they have special patches on their shirt with their name in English and Arabic, and with a flag, and that flag symbolizes the languages they speak, not their country of origin, but the language they speak. So you can see British flags and American flags on so many people, you know, even though they are definitely Filipino or something like that. And the locals, they either do not work or they work in very like high ranked and well paid jobs like managers and high tech and stuff. And they also do military service and policemen. If you want to be a soldier or a policeman, you have to be local, which is quite special. I mean, it is surprising that locals who are, you know, they have a lot of money, they still volunteer to serve in the army. So there is some respect to the position. Okay. What else? Como said, truth is probably like happiness, simple with no history. Okay, great. I didn't know that. That's not in the museum. Who is the artist for the light exhibit on the window? Who is the artist for the light exhibit at the end of the museum? Well, I'm ashamed, but I don't remember. Her first name is Suzanne. Her last name is starts with an F. I will find it, okay? And she's Austrian, but I can't remember. Wait a minute. I know where I can find it. Give me just a moment. Fritschel. Okay, her name is Susanne Fritschel. She is the artist of light and air. Okay, how hot does it get up to? Well, it gets up to easily up to 50, rarely 55 degrees Celsius, which if Harry is still here, will convert in a sec. Okay, 50 degrees Celsius is something truly impossible. Can anybody?
Hotter than hell, I think.
Exactly, it is warmer than hell. All right. Bob asked, where are all the people? Well, all the people are either at home because the locals, you know, that's during Ramadan. So if it is so hot outside and you don't have to go to somewhere, so you don't, because you don't eat and you don't drink for the whole day. So the locals will stay away from the heat, and then their residents have to work, and the locals just, you know, having a nap of Ramadan. And there are no tourists because of a very strict policy in Abu Dhabi. I mean, they did let tourists in just as I made it, but it was sort of complicated, and people just did not come. So it was incredibly empty. It had advantages and disadvantages, but yeah, we're all the people surviving COVID-19 and Ramadan.
50 degrees Celsius is 122 Fahrenheit.
Oh, thank you so much. All right. So just as Valerie said before, this is hell. Okay, this is the maximum it gets. When I was there, it was nice and pleasant. It was only around 40 degrees Celsius, okay, which was very hot for me. But our local tour guide, she said, "Oh, this is a wonderful weather. I mean, I can even wear my black jeans. In a month, that will not be possible." So, you know, everything is relative. Valerie asked, they let you take pictures inside the mosque. Yeah, no problem. You can take as many pictures as you want. But the problem was that the guards are not allowed to take pictures of the visitors, and I was the only one. So, but no, otherwise, no problem. the intricate detail is amazing. Do you know how long it took to build this mosque? It took about 7 years, I guess. I'm not sure. I think it took about 7 years. It was inaugurated in 214, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not yet a specialist on Abu Dhabi. I'm not sure. Okay, it took a few years. Sorry, I'm still a tour guide in Israel, even though I'm considering, okay, is it safe for Jews to visit the UAE? Yes, definitely. Is 100% safe, or at least it feels like it. Okay, never say never, but we felt wonderful, safe, welcomed. Everything was good. Okay, what is the name of the museum? Okay, the museum is called the Louvre, simply, just like the one in Paris, Louvre of Abu Dhabi. All right, as I told you, they paid a fortune to be able to use to be called Louvre. And the mosque is called the Grand Mosque of Sheikh Zayed. Okay.
Is there anything that they do not import? They don't grow anything.
I guess sand, rocks, air, marine water, they have plenty. I do not think they actually, I mean, they do have a little bit of agriculture, but this is like more for symbolic purposes, okay? They have oil, they have gas, they sell them, they get the money, they buy whatever they want, but you can truly get everything any time of the year. You know, we went to a supermarket and I bought blueberries from Mexico. I bought strawberries from Guatemala. I bought mango from Florida. You can have everything anywhere at a decent price. You know, just shopping paradise. Somebody, I don't know, it's not a name I can pronounce, but somebody wrote, so glad you were able to go there. Well, you can't imagine how glad I was. So, okay, it was, thank you. The rabbi for Dubai also lives in NYC. You mean New York City? Judith? Yeah, in New York. Okay, so that's very convenient.
Yes. I wrote to him. I was supposed to be in Dubai for a cruise, and I wrote to him to say about having celebrating Shabbat there, and he's at Columbia University or something like that. He said, yes, you can come and we'll have Shabbat and everything. So it was really amazing, but I didn't get. They canceled the whole thing. That was last year. It was all canceled. Okay.
Well, you will make it. I hope you will. I mean, it is really amazing. Louis asked, so did I enjoy the trip to UAE? Yes, I enjoyed it tremendously. It is the most amazing trip I ever had, and I was traveling a lot. So it is uncomparable to anything else. You have everything, a little bit of everything in there. The distances are very small. Everything is very convenient. And the opportunity to see these places when they're almost empty, again, it is a very special feeling, sometimes a bit annoying, but in the same time, you have the whole place for yourself. You know, it's like being in the original Louvre, facing the Mona Lisa, and it's just for you. So being able to enjoy the mosque and the museum and the frame of Dubai and Burj Khalifa and all these places, you know, without being part of huge crowd, it was terrific. So yes, I enjoyed every minute of it. Do they have big supermarkets? Yes, They have huge supermarkets. They have supermarkets which are more than the size of the community I live in. Okay, they are just enormous. Can you fry an egg on the sidewalk? Yeah, easily, of course, in seconds. They don't grow dates? Yes, they do. Of course, they do grow dates. I don't know if they are self-sufficient in terms of dates, but yeah, of course, they do grow dates. What else? In the term, the mosque is inlay. Okay, thanks. So it will be inlay next time. Great. We ran out of questions on chat, so thank you so much for listening for so long. Thank you for joining me in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Ras Al Khaimah. And you're welcome to join me the day after tomorrow in Rehovot. Okay? All right.
Thank you so much. Today's trip was 6,800 miles from New York City. Well, that's a new record. And it's probably, a 2-hour plane ride from Israel or something like that?
It's 3 hours. Yeah, 3 hours. You fly over Jordan and Saudi Arabia, and you already feel that it's unreal, you know, flying over Saudi Arabia, and then you land in Dubai. Yeah. So, well, the Seychelles Islands are even further away from New York, I guess. Or maybe not. Maybe from the other side. I don't know.
Seychelles are east of South Africa, I think, right? In the in the
Indian Ocean, right?
It's probably a bit further, but 6,800 miles for a day is not too bad.
No, that was good. That was good enough.
Yeah, you took our minds for a ride into another universe, and I think the picture you're painting is of a totally different universe. And it's refreshing to see those kinds of things. So thank you very much for taking the time and putting the presentation together today.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Yeah. It was a pleasure traveling with you virtually, and I'm looking forward to traveling in reality, and things are getting better here.
Yes.
So let's hope for a better future for all of us.
Great. Laila Tov.
Laila Tov. See you the day after tomorrow. Laila Tov.
Laila Tov.
Reba, are you okay? Reba looks like she's in the hospital.
Julia, did you leave? Did she leave?
We're now in schmooze
No,
mode.
I'm still here.
Julia, let us know when you come to when you're going to come to Tel Aviv. Ina and I want to see you.
Sure. Yeah. I will. I'm not sure I will do that next week, but yeah, we have to. No, we have to meet. Of course, we have to have a coffee.
She's gonna be here till September, so we've got time.
Oh, we have plenty of time, and you're gonna be here forever, so no worries. Please stick around forever. And Ilana, this time you stayed for the whole presentation, which means that things are getting better for you as well. And I saw Neely for a sec, so she is okay.
Only one pill down her throat a day now. We're getting better.
All right. Now my cat is hospitalized, so I hope it will get better. Yeah, I have a sweet
What's wrong?
Well, the poor thing had his urine bladder blocked.
Yeah, Crystal.
It happens to cats, which are male cats, which are castrated.
Yeah.
So I didn't know, but I didn't know that this is the problem. I mean, I saw that it is sort of, sad, but I thought that it will be okay, and it was not okay. And so by the time I took him to a vet, he was almost dead. But he's better now. But he's in his hospital. Yeah, I hope he will be here the day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
So please pray for my cat as well.
I will.
I really love him. His name is Amy. He has 3 legs only.
What's his name?
Amy.
Amy. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I heard.
When we adopted him, he was so little that my daughter thought that this is a she, and then we realized that this is a he. But by the time he was already named, so we have a
Got
male
it.
Amy. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll pray for Amy.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Good night.
Bye. Bye.
We're now in schmooze mode. Welcome to stay, hang around, talk about any subjects. Try not to insult each other. We do very
Israel
good.
is still with us.
And yes, Israel, would you like to say hello?
I think that not to insult each other is to practice.
Muted.
Oh, Israel, you're muted.
Okay, is it?
Yeah, we got you. Go ahead.
Shalom to everybody. I'm glad to meet you and to see you. We are anxious to have you already back to the programs of Sarel. It looks like we are on the way to open our programs. And as Steve mentioned earlier, it looks like October will be the time that we will be able to open our programs. It's not so easy because we have to deal with many countries and we have to get government requirements and restrictions from everybody that comes from a different country. So on one side, we have the army demands that we already know them. It's very easy if you're vaccinated and so on. We will let you know all the information when we have it. And when we will have the government allowance, we will let you know and give you exactly the things that you have to prepare before you come. Right now, there is a need for volunteers and we have a lot of requests, and you can believe that after the operation that we had now, the South, the IDF needs help. We are trying to do it with local volunteers, but it's not so easy as it is when you come from all over the countries, and we hope that we'll be able, as I said before, to do it soon. So please, a little bit more of patience because we have a lot of requests and a lot of questions. And I see that in the near future, be able to meet again. So thank you for listening to me, and to see you soon.
Oh, thank you, Israel. That was very nice. I think we might publish your little presentation for other people within VFI to hear. We really appreciate you joining us today, and welcome to join us again. This is the 97th episode, and we're going to go to about 106 or so, and then figure out what we're going to do for season 2.